Okay, cool. Hey, everybody. Really happy to be here. My name is Vivek Mahbubani. I am a stand-up comedian, and I want to clarify something. My being a comedian is not because I have a funnier life, not because I talk with a funny voice, and I definitely do not have a funny face, all right? I know what I look like. I have a mirror, too, okay? I look suspicious. I get it, but I must tell you something. Don't think, oh, it's so sad, oh, you look, no. You must understand, this face is a benefit. I never, ever have to line up at the minibus line. I just cut in queue, get on the bus. People are like, you know what? I'll take the next one. I don't want to get this one. I like my life. It's good. Do you understand how good it is? But I must say, one thing I learned, though, doing comedy is that it's not really about, trying to be funny, but it's more like looking at your life and trying to ask why. Why is this happening? Why am I doing this? Why do I think that way? Because a very famous comedian once said, Carl Burnett once said, comedy is equal to tragedy plus time. Which is interesting because for me, growing up in Hong Kong, I went to a local Chinese school, and that meant that I was the only non-Chinese kid in my class all the time. So what would happen is that I would get picked on, all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, I also had this unique power that I could make stuff up. I could lie to my friends and they would believe me. So for example, I am Indian, but at home we spoke in English, and what that means is that my own dialect of Hindi and Sindhi is very poor. However, my classmates would never know that, right? And when they would ask me, hey, Viv, I'm going to India next month. Can you teach me some Hindi and Sindhi? I'm like, of course I can. I'm Indian, right? By default, I must know this. So he's like, oh, so if I see an Indian person, how do I say hello? So just to clarify something, guys, if you go to India and you see an Indian person and you say hello, we understand. Right? But I don't have to tell my friend that. I was like, oh, the word for hello in an Indian word is giligulu. Right? So he's like, oh, giligulu, okay, yeah, I can do that. And then he's like, oh, and also, how do I say bye again? Anywhere in this world, probably, if you said bye to anybody, highly likely they would know what that meant, right? But I tell my friend, I'm like, oh, the word for bye is gulu-giling. So can you imagine my friend took the gili-gulu, goes to India, gets off that plane, he's like, oh my God, this is it. Gili-gulu. Gili-gulu, right? Do you realize how bizarre it was? He came back to Hong Kong. He still did not know that I was tricking him. Came back, he's like, hey, Viv, how come when I said gili-gulu, nobody understood me? I was like, well, just say it once to me. He's like, gili-gulu. I'm like, remember, when you talk to an Indian person, you must shake your head, gili-gulu, gili-gulu. He's like, oh, that's what I'm missing. I'm like, you're an idiot, right? But what I'm trying to say is that these were stories in my past. And for me, a lot of times I find that when I think about this actually is a tragedy. That there were so many assumptions that, oh, because you're this, you're that, because you're this, you're that. Just like I say, nowadays, I know what I look like. I know a lot of times when I take the bus, the seat next to me is always the last one that gets filled up. I don't blame anybody. I like it. Space is the premium here, right? Don't sit next to me. Awesome. I love it. But the point is this is that comedy equals to tragedy plus time. So we think about today's topic of learning from the past and inspiring the future. What I really do as a comedian is not live a funnier life than you guys. I simply go to my past and constantly ask why. Why did that happen? What was going on? Why were they thinking that? Every day of my life today, I ask myself, why this, why that, why that? And it's fun because all of a sudden things change. No longer am I just saying I want to have a good life. I'm looking for the tragedy. I'm looking for the bad stuff. Think about it. For all the adults here, when you have your reunions with your old classmates, you don't come back and hang out, hey, remember that time when we all got straight A's? Yay, we don't talk about that. We talk about the time we got in trouble. We talk about the punishment, right? We talk about how we got out of school and got illegally and all that stuff. Think about it. When you wake up one day for work or for school and you find out you're late for school, right? The fun is when you have to think about, do I decide to call in and pretend I'm sick? Or do I take the risk of running late to school and getting in trouble? Now, when you think about it, a good person would say, I'd wake up early on time, go to school, good life. No, but the fun is when you're trying to think about what should I do. And let's say you decide, I'm going to call in sick. Then you got to think about the whole plan, right? You're like, what type of sickness? Do I have a fever? Do I have a sore throat? How sore is my throat? Is it a sore throat or is it sore throat? Which one, right? You look in the mirror, you're like, hello? Hello? Right? When you call in, you have to be authentic. They're like, that sounds like stars. There we go, right? So the tragedy actually over time becomes comedy. In the same way, your past is not what the past is. It's how you frame it. Just like I could talk about all these stories and say, you know, it was really tough for me. My school was really strict. If you were late, you get in trouble. But no, I find it's funny. I was like, ooh, because school is so strict. How can I play with this? How can I use it to my advantage? Just like I say, a lot of times when I'm doing comedy, people have assumptions. Oh, you must be this, you must be that. You must be a happy person. You must watch comedy all day. Let me explain something to you guys. As a comedian, I love what I do because I'm constantly asking why we do certain things. People talk to me about heavy topics like, you know, Viv, do you believe in equality? Or when you were young, were you discriminated? Yes, I was, but, you know, do you feel this is a bad thing? I'm like, well, it depends how you see it. Now, discrimination is something I faced when I was growing up, and I think this exists everywhere in the world. I'm not going to say we should all respect each other, stuff like that. Think what you want. Everyone has an opinion. However, what I find is how you frame it. How I frame it. As a comedian, I'm constantly trying to frame the situation. Like, why is it so? Why is it so? Why do people always call me a terrorist? I'm Indian. We're not into the whole bombing thing, right? Like, you mixed up your regions. And think about it. The only time you would ever get a bomb from an Indian person is after a night of heavy curry, right? Right? The next morning you wake up, you feel it inside. We are such spiritual people that even the bombs we give you come from within, right? So think about it, what I just said is like, it's actually still a tragedy that we still have these perceptions on life. But the thing is, I always take my past and I say, why is it so? Why do people think this? And how can I play with it to my advantage? So the value of this is more about reframing what your life is and reframing your past to inspire your future. Many times people say, but your past will define your future. I always say, no, it's your choice. You can choose to let it define your future, as in I had a bad life, you know, I did this, I regret it, so you know what, that's how it's going to be. Or you can say, okay, how can I take what I've had? How can I take all the struggles? How can I take all the good things I've had and inspire the future I want? But the question you must ask yourself is that, what is the future you want? Now, for me, I love comedy. I grew up watching a lot of comedians, and I would love the idea that some guy could just hold a mic and tell a story, and I would laugh. What a fantastic experience, right? However, you can't just be like, okay, my turn, ha. It doesn't work that way, right? You have to put in some effort. But the truth is, you're digging deep into your past. When you first start comedy, you actually go to your past and look at all the experiences you had, usually always tragedies. Now, for me, I always had this one story that I love telling, and it's strange because this is one of my original comedy bits. However, what's happened is that people seem to like it a lot, to the point they come to a comedy show that I'm on, and I'm one of the performers. And they're like, hey, are you going to do that bit about the ID card? I'm like, first of all, this is not karaoke. You don't get to pick a joke. I'll take number 1 and number 3, please. All right, I'm next. Okay, that doesn't happen, right? But I do enjoy telling a joke because it is a true story. What happens for me is that even nowadays it's much less, but when I was young, I would always get stopped by the police to get my ID card checked. Now, this is actually a problem for a lot of young young South Asian kids in Hong Kong, because for some reason, we're just profiled without our choice, right? However, it happened to me all the time. I'd be walking home, minding my own business, a policeman will see me. He'll always say, you! ID card, right? I could be standing next to him, he's like, you! ID card. I'm like, dude, I'm not deaf, I can do it, right? So I'm always scared. I'm like, okay, just take my card. Now, the guy takes my card. It is so obvious. He cannot pronounce my name. Because he takes my card, he's like, oh, right? And he starts to do this. He's like the distance makes a difference, right? Oh, I could not pronounce that name. Oh, I'm short-sighted. Now I can, right? So he's holding my card, trying to guess my surname. Now, my surname is Mahbubani. It's a typical Indian Sindhi surname. Now, maybe this guy was nervous. He was standing there like shaking one leg. I've never seen anyone stand and shake their leg. You would normally sit and do that, but this guy, okay, whatever, right? Maybe he's pumping knowledge. I have no idea. Whatever, right? I'm not going to ask him. So he's looking at my card, trying to guess my name. Now, my surname being Mahbubani, he's probably thinking the typical thought, like, okay, surname starts letter M. Looks very suspicious, like terrorist. His best guess was Mohammed. But that is not even how he pronounced it. He pronounced it as Mohammed. Like what, past tense? Since when did Mohammed become a verb? You cannot use it in a sentence. You can't be like, hey man, yeah, I Mohammeded you. Like, what? I Jesus you back. I don't know. How does this work? I'm confused. I don't get it. Is this English? Okay. But of course, I'm scared, so I'm just standing there like holding my laptop, like, oh, and this is when he's like all proud. He's like, all right, he's got my name. He's like, okay, Mohammed, where are you going? So I was like, sir, I'm just going home. What's the problem? He's like, Mohammed, from where you are come. I'm like, what? From where you are come? What are you, Yoda from Star Wars? What is this? Right? Now, I don't blame him. You know, his English wasn't very good. Now, I grew up in a Chinese school, and I understand English is taught as a second language. And I luckily can speak Cantonese fluently, which is a superpower for me. And I thought, hey, it's time to save the day. I speak in Cantonese. He doesn't have to speak in English. We're all happy, happy, joy, joy. Lets me go home, no problem, all right? So I decide, hey, let me be the good guy, help him out, you know, solve problems. So in Cantonese, I'm like, sir, he's like, Mohammed, you think I don't speak English? And arrested me. So therefore, you think about it this way, that was actually a tragedy growing up, but 10 years later, people pay me to hear me tell that story. Then thank you very much, it was a pleasure. So remember, it's more about how you want to inspire your future than define your future by a past, and I encourage you guys. The next time you have a tragedy happen to yourself, remember, give it some time, you will find it funny. So for example, let's say for some reason at the corner in the alley over there, someone looking like me robs you, it's the tragedy. Give it 10 years, you'll be laughing too, all right? Thank you much, guys. Enjoy the rest of the night. It's a pleasure. Take it easy.